Okay, here's my next video. What we're doing is we're replacing these little knife blades, and these are knife guard blades, I believe is what they call them. I'm going to have to grind. First thing I got to do is get these old blades out of here. I'm going to have to grind these rivets out of here, and then I'll knock them out. And then I'm going to shut the camera on pause, and I'll move it over to the mill and show you what all I got to go through to replace all 23 of these things. First thing I want to do is I'm going to put on some goggles, hook air up to my die grinder, grind that rivet out. I'm going to stick it in a vise like this. I'm going to get my chisel out, hopefully get behind this old blade, and hopefully it'll pop right out. These have been in there for a long time, so they could be stubborn. Nope, that one fell out. Actually, it broke, which is fine. Get the rest of it out. There it goes. Got a bunch of rust in it. Tells you how old this thing is, how long it's been sitting there. Okay, that's all it is to taking those out. Now I'm going to put this camera on pause and show you what else I got to do to get this done. Okay, we got the camera moved so we can do our next step. I'm on my Bridgeport mill. This is the vise you see here, clamped up on the mill. What we're doing here is putting new blades on the knife guard. Here's one already done. I went ahead and did one so I would know what all I would have to gather up and rig up so I can make this video on doing all these. I'm gonna have to do 23 of these. This is one. I got 22 more to go. Now, first thing I got to do, these new blades I ordered, if you compare it to the old ones, you notice that half moon at the end there. The new ones didn't have it. Normally I would complain about that when I buy something new, but I bought these off of eBay for about, I don't know, it was less than half of what the new ones cost off of any tractor or machinery website. So for the money I'm saving, I don't mind cutting that half moon in there. And here's how I'm going to go about doing this. Hopefully you can see this in the camera. Yes, I can see it. I got a 1/2 inch ball nose end mill, which would put the right radius in there. What I did, I took one of the old blades and I bolted it to the new one using the rivet holes. Lined them up the best I could. And I'm going to clamp this up in my mill. Right about here, I'm going to use this magnetic square for welding to square it up. There are more accurate ways to get this thing in here perfectly square, like using the dial indicator and indicating across it, but this is not that picky. All it's got to do is fit in that guard. It's got to be a pretty good fit so it can't shift around, but this should be close enough for what we're doing. Keep this tight. Alright, when I first planned on doing this, I was going to take this ball nose cutter and cut all of that out. But these new hardened blades are very hard, and even though this is a carbide end mill, it wouldn't hold up to all 23 of these, and this is the only one I've got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rough it out with the die grinder and cutoff wheel. So we'll go ahead and do that. just going to rough it out as close as I can. Move this table away from there. I don't want to mess up and accidentally hit my end mill. Hopefully we can still see this. Okay, I'm just going to rough this out and get it close. That way the end mill won't have so much to cut off. Okay, we got it close enough to where I don't have to cut too much off of my end mill now. So we'll go ahead and fire up the mill. Couldn't see what happened, but I need to attach my handle to my up and down crank on this mill better. It's shot across the room. We'll do that later. Alright, I'm just going to eyeball this up. That's what I'm going to do. Grab me a light so I can see what I'm cutting better. Doing now, I'm just moving this thing down about 10 thousandths at a time and take a little light cut. So I'll get the new blade where it matches the half moon in the old blade. Now we need to go over.